Godzilla, king of the monsters, the granddaddy of kaiju and the kaiju genre. Of course, I have loved him since I was a kid, but there is another that I found later and love more. As of the making of this video, Godzilla has appeared in 38 films, 33 produced by Toho in Japan, 1 produced by TriStar in the US, and 4 as part of the MonsterVerse launched by American Legendary Pictures. Starting in 1954 with the original Godzilla, we have 15 Showa-era films, ending with Terror of Mechagodzilla in 1975. After a pause of almost a decade, the character was rebooted in The Return of Godzilla, which acted as a sequel to the 1954 original and ignored all other films in the Showa era. This film started off the Heisei era, which included 7 outings and ended in 1995. In 1999, we saw Godzilla 2000 Millennium, another reboot of the character, which ignored all previous films except for the 1954 original, which Millennium was another direct sequel to. This started the Millennium Era, which had 6 films and wrapped up in 2004. After that, we saw Shin Godzilla in 2016, a totally standalone outing for Godzilla with no connection to any previous film. This kicked off the Reiwa era, which is currently ongoing. Following that film, we had an animated trilogy with its own independent continuity and mythos. Most recently, there was another live-action film called Godzilla -1 in 2023, which acted as a complete reboot for the character and the franchise with no connection to any previous Godzilla film. On the US front, we saw Godzilla in 1998. It was completely original with no connection to previous Japanese Godzilla films. I will get to the Legendary Pictures films in a moment, but before that I want to look at the in-story origins of Godzilla in the other films. Basically, Godzilla was, in almost every case, the product of mankind's actions. The giant creature known as Godzilla was usually created by nuclear radiation, either from weapons testing, fallout from weapons, or waste products from nuclear reactors. Godzilla was the mutated form of some existing animal, either a modern-day lizard or a surviving prehistoric dinosaur-like animal. Godzilla served as a metaphor for humans' hubris and carelessness in handling the power of the atom. In the animated trilogy, Godzilla is plant-based and seems to be a naturally occurring reset button, a function of the Earth itself to protect life, in part by removing humanity due to the amount of damage people have done to the planet. Still a metaphor, this was a big deviation from the nuclear radiation-based origins of previous iterations. That brings us to the MonsterVerse. This version of Godzilla is an ancient being, usually dwelling under the sea or in tunnels and caverns connected to the hollow earth, sometimes lying dormant for long periods of time. Godzilla was awakened by human activity in 1954. Attacks under the guise of nuclear tests failed to kill Godzilla, so Project Monarch was created to study Godzilla and similar monsters that were appearing, called Titans. This Godzilla is intelligent and has a function: to protect life on Earth and keep other Titans under control, which is not usually a problem since most of them live in the hollow Earth. Project Monarch learns, after studying myths and legends from various ancient cultures, that Godzilla was worshipped as a god by some cultures. In the second Godzilla-centric film, Godzilla, King of Monsters, a submarine finds Godzilla's lair in the hollow earth, a mostly submerged city, long sunken and abandoned. It is adorned with carvings and statues of Godzilla, basically a temple for this titan to rest in and be adored by this now extinct human civilization. I loved this incarnation of Godzilla. Not simply a force of nature, not simply a mindless product of human mistake, not something hopefully a hero, but often an uncaring, destructive force. No, this Godzilla was intelligent and had agency, a mission, to safeguard life on the planet, including the descendants of the ancient humans who lived alongside him and worshipped him. He would come when needed, keep the Titans in check, and maintain balance. However, I had seen this before in the Heisei Gamera series. Debuting in 1965 in Gamera the Giant Monster, our hero is freed from ice by a nuclear explosion. He is a prehistoric flying turtle with tusks. Starring in 8 films during this Showa-era series, Gamera last appeared in 1980's Gamera Super Monster. Then, in 1995, the Heisei Gamera series began, rebooting everything for this character. There were 4 films made, with the 4th being unrelated to the first 3. It is the main Heisei Gamera trilogy and the lore it established that I will explain. 10,000 years ago, the civilization of Atlantis created artificial life forms to dispose of the pollution that they created. These were called Gyaos. Unfortunately, the Atlanteans lost control of their creations, and as the Gyaos fed on the pollution, cleaning the world, they began multiplying out of control and attacked Atlantis itself. As a last resort, the Atlanteans used their advanced technology to bioengineer a defense. Gamera. Gamera was able to eradicate most of the Gyaos and drive them into hibernation, but Atlantis could not recover and was subsequently destroyed. As a final act, the Atlanteans left Gamera for future humanity in case they needed a defender. Gamera slept for thousands of years. As humanity developed their civilizations and technology, and as pollution rose again, sleeping Gyaos awakened and hatched from long-buried eggs. The environmental conditions were perfect for their return, putting the world in jeopardy again. Gamera woke up and began attacking the Gyaos, protecting humanity as best he could. A formidable bioweapon, Gamera could fly, could shoot fireballs and energy from his mouth, could fire a powerful beam from his chest, could fight hand-to-hand, sometimes using retractable blades that emerged from his elbows. He was intelligent on a human level and had a mission: to stop the Gyaos and other threats, to protect life on Earth, to defend humanity. While not identical to the lore behind the Legendary Pictures version of Godzilla, this telling of Gamera is remarkably similar and came first. If you haven't seen the Heisei Gamera trilogy, I highly recommend it. Even if you are not a fan of the genre, those 3 movies tell a great story with real stakes and horrific consequences about a misunderstood hero trying to save people who think he is a monster. Thank you for watching. See you next time.